But while this conversation was going on between Raph and all these names, Janny, uh, I'll explain later on how he got that name Janny, but not right now. No time, because the conversation, there's so much to be said. Well, Nell had been sitting there listening and pleased to see her husband Janny get excited like he always does, talking fast when he understands something, and he was understanding the water wheel. But after a while she got up, they didn't even notice her, and walked over to Audrey, the barista there at this cafe, and said to her, "Those kids outside, they're acting pretty excited. What's going on out there? Their hands are flying, and cards are flying, and stuff." And Audrey laughed and said, "Well, it's summertime, and school's out, and they like to go out there, and they're playing cards." And well, Nell said, "Yeah, I figured they were, but how come they're so excited about it? I mean, what kind of a card game is that?" And Audrey said, they're playing Pounce. It can get so wild that I made them go outside because they would play inside here and they'd slamming and another thing too. I said, "Hey, 3 per game, no 4. I let them break that rule sometimes, but and once I had them go outside, it was fine." And they do that all afternoon. Sometimes there's 2-3 tables going on out there. They play other card games too, but Pounce is what they're playing now. And Nell said, "I remember Pounce. When I was just a little girl, we used to play that. That was fun. I was good." And Audrey said, "Well, go on out there. There's only 2 of them playing right now. Join in." And Nell said, "I wonder if I remember how. It's just like solitaire, isn't it? It's like playing double solitaire." And Audrey said, "I guess so. I never learned to play it. I played other games. But anyway, since the Great Awakening and change, card games have really reawakened in the town of Earth's Drink, and especially the young people. You don't see them out there looking at their screens in silence. Not now. They're engaged." So anyway, Nell went out and stood there watching for a while, and politely at the end of when one of them shouted "Pounce," slapped her hand down, and said "Pounce." They counted up the cards and stuff, and then they said, "Miss, do you want to join? Do you know how to play Pounce?" And Nell explained, well, she did when she was a little girl or teenager. That was before, cell phones and electronic stuff and all. That's the way they play. And so the 2 girls that were at the table, they slid their chairs around, gave her a chair, and one of them went in to Audrey and said, "Can we have another deck?" And Audrey came up with another deck. She supplied the decks of cards. That's how she could control a little bit, and they'd give her a few dollars to use a deck of cards, for the shelter and the spot, and you know how that is. So out the girl came with another deck of cards, and they started to play, and they re-explained the rules, but it came right back to Nell. She knew. And before long, 11 cards in the Pounce pile. If you need a handicap, you could maybe put only 10 or 9 and in your Pounce pile. And Nell said, no, I don't need a handicap, I don't think. I used to be good. My hands aren't as fast, maybe. So off they went. Now hands were flying fast just like before. And Nell was right in the middle of it all. Well, Shanny inside now talking to Raph, he saw that out the window, because there's all windows there between the inside and the outside, and this was under a porch. Remember, it was the old post office. The post he smiled, happy to see Janny having so much, or Nell having so much fun. And then he said they continued their conversation, but he said, "What do you mean the poly? I think I've heard that referred to before. The poly. What's the poly?" And Raph said, "Well, you've been by it several times already, I think, at least twice. But you think it's the leather works. That's probably what that real big building right in the center of Earth's Drink, with 5 stories, brick, and part of it looks like a castle. You surely remember that. And out there at the top it says Leather Works. Well, it's not really a Leather Works anymore. It was booming at one time. Booming. It was all full and active. And when it was a Leather Works, it was using a water wheel up there, straight out of the Earth's Drink's pond, inside, running all the machinery to cut and stamp and stitch the leather. But with international trade and other things, and when the tannery closed, it got pretty empty. It also moved some of its production out of the center of town to another building. So that building has been sitting there fairly empty. It was for quite a while, but not anymore. It's an active place, and you'll enjoy everything in it. Probably. You see, it was I'll tell you more about this later. You just go there and you'll find out. You'll find out. You go there, and you be sure to go up to the top floor, because that's where all the models are. You know, Wednesday is the day to go there, I think. And I'll tell you why you shouldn't go. I know you're real interested in this water wheel stuff and some other stuff, but I'll tell you why you probably shouldn't go there today yet or tomorrow. Remember, I am your tour guide. All right, so I'll explain that in the next video, what he had to say about that. Bye for now.